my name is Giovanna Proença, and today we're going to talk about Private Eye exercise of week 4 of CS50 Introduction to Database with SQL. So in this exercise, we're going to work with creating views and also creating tables as they mentioned in the lecture. In this problem, CS50 debugger has disappeared once again, and our goal is to figure it out where it is. And to do that, we're going to kind of decode some sentences using this encrypted way they mention. All right, so basically we're going to take a look here. Remember to download the source code, and you're going to have the private.db and the private.sql. We're going to use this paper proximity to the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. What's written on it seems to have some variation of a book cipher. So the version of the book cipher this talks about a list of triplets, and what this means, a set of 3 numbers. Each triplet is structured as follows. The first number is the triplet in the sentence number referenced by the encoder. So for example, I have 10 sentences. I want to select the sentence on position 1. Then the second number is the triplet. In the triplet is the character number within that sentence at which the message begins. So on sentence 1 at character 5, we're going to start getting all the letters to create our to get the cipher message. And the third number in the triplet is the message length in characters. So how many characters to read from the first character, that is it we got in the second number, including spaces and punctuations. I know it seemed a little bit confusing, so let's see this example. So for instance, consider the triplet 218 in light of the following sentences. Quiet, so you have not observed, and yet you have seen. So 2 refers to the second sentence, which means within these 3 sentences, the second sentence is you have not observed. 1 in our triplet refers to the first character in the sentence, so it's the letter Y. And 8 refers to the length of the message, so we're gonna get from letter Y until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, until the letter E. So by the end, when we decode our cipher, we have the message you have, all right? So we're gonna kind of figure it out using those triplets here. This is the sentence, this is the character we start, and this is the length. And we're gonna generate a table that will store these triplets for us. All right, so in order to do that, in order to generate a view, because we want to generate a view that displays the message according to the triplet, we need to create a table that stores the triplet as we have. In order to store the triplet, we're going to use this advice here they mention, all right, when we are adding in there. Right now, we're not going to focus on it. So our triplet table must contain the sentence ID, because we need to know which sentence we're talking about, the character ID, or the start character, so character on position 398, and the length of our string. All right, so we're gonna start generating this table. So I'm gonna write create table, and I'm gonna give the name triplets. Okay, let's start giving here the column. So I'm gonna have the sentence ID, that will be a integer. We're gonna have the position of the start char, that is an integer, and we're gonna have the length, and it's an integer as well. All right, so this way we're gonna generate our table. Because right now in our table, we only have a table called sentences, which contains the sentences we're gonna use in our cipher. So if we run this command, we're gonna create our table. So let me run here SQLite3 private.db, and when I create our table and I refresh our database, we're gonna have now the table triplets. Okay, now that we have our table triplets, we need to insert the values on it. And what will be the values? If we take a look, I thought they had a hint, but these are the values we're gonna insert, okay? So how can we insert information in our table? We're gonna do insert into the name of our table, that is triplets. We need to say the name of our column, so sentence ID, start char, and length. And then we're gonna need to set the values, and for the values I'm gonna add here the pairs. So let me restructure a little bit. I'm gonna put a beginning parenthesis at everyone in here. I'm gonna add a comma everywhere we see here, and I'm gonna close with a parenthesis and a comma. Okay, so let me do this step, and I'm gonna do this step in here with a comma. You can use Command D to write it down. And then at the end, let me double check, we're gonna close with a semicolon, okay? So let's see in here. When I open up our database of triplets, it is empty, it has no data. But once I run the insert into, we're gonna see that now our table has the information we want, the triplets. For the sentence ID, start, char, and length. So now that we structure our cipher, so now that we have our table here with the sentence ID, the start, char, and the length, we're able to follow the device to get our view, because our goal is to generate the phrases to make sense and understand what they mean. So to do that, we're gonna follow this, we're gonna use this sub-str that will get for us, that needs 3 arguments. A string from which to take a substring, the starting character, and the length of the substring. So this is exactly what we have in our table, all right? They kind of give us a hint here, so we're gonna use this to select our parts. But let's do it in some steps. First, I wanna select the 3 columns that we have. So I wanna select sentence ID, start, char, and length from triplets, and that's it. I want to select this for now before we run our view, and this way we're seeing the content of our table. Now what if I use the device they give us? I use the function sub-str. So let me put this in here. I close. So if we run this part, we don't have exactly what we want. And why is that? Because the sentence here is a sentence ID, and what we really need is the sentence. So we're not going to use the sub-str in the sentence ID, we need to use in the sentence for real. And the sentence for real, here we have a sentences table which contains an ID and the sentence. And in our triplets, we have the foreign key. So we have the sentence ID, which we can get the sentences from our sentences table. So let's break it down. We're gonna need to do a join. So I'm gonna do sentence from triplet, join sentences on sentences.id, that it's equals to our triplets.sentence ID. So now we're joining both tables. Let's see now if we have a different output. And now we're able to decode our cipher. So find me in the place you least expect behind the books. So we were able to get the triplets and convert this into a phrase. And now that we got it, we're gonna create a view. And as we saw, to create a view, we need to say create view, the name of our view as. In our case, they're telling us to create a view called phrases. Actually called message with a single column phrase. So let's build that together. So I'm gonna write a message here. And I'm gonna say create view, and the name is message as, and I wanna put all of this, I'm gonna rename this column as phrase. So this way we can rename the column of our view. If I run in here, we're gonna see that now in our database, we have the view they expected, and we're gonna have the same output just doing the following. If I say select phrase from message, we will be able to get the same thing we saw doing just the select and join. So the view is already recording this for us, okay? And this is pretty much what we need to do. So let's run check 50 and see if we pass all tests. If you feel that you need more exercises about programming and you're not feeling so comfortable with SQL or other languages, check the description below where we have the Coding Doors platform. There we have several exercises where you can practice more, feel more comfortable, and finally become a programmer. All right? If you enjoyed this content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and now that we pass all green, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.